Welcome to Here's the Deal, your leader in sports, featuring everything you, the fans, want to talk about. From top 10 lists to predictions to debates, it's all covered right here. Hosted by Michael D. White Jr., a.k.a. The Bearded One.
We're back. I took a week off last week, guys. Things got kind of busy for me at work, but here we are. Here's the deal. New episode today. So let's not even waste no time. Let's get straight into it, guys. So first thing I want to talk about from this past Sunday that I really need to talk about. So the Patriots dropped another game to the Carolina Panthers. Now look, that Patriot defense, let me tell you. First off, it's on pace to be the worst defense of all time. But it is just the worst defense in the league, hands down. That defense only got Carolina off the field twice. They got one interception early, which was cool, and they only forced the Panthers to punt one time. You're not going to win games like that. Or better, let me better put it, it's going to be harder for the Patriots to win games like that. They have the worst defense in the league. They're ranked 32nd, hands down. They're giving up a league worst 457 yards per game, and they've given up 97 first downs to opponents this year. So to kind of put that in perspective, only one team has given up more first downs to opponents. So plain and simple, this defense doesn't get anyone off the field. So if the defense isn't getting one off the field, they're gassed all the time. And then the opposite team is always scoring. That means Tom Brady literally has to score every single drive for them to even be in it. It's funny though, that sounds familiar, doesn't it? It's all these years I've heard Skip Bayless talk about Aaron Rodgers losing, failing to acknowledge the horrendous defense that Green Bay has been putting out on the field. But now that it's happening to Tom Brady, the first thing that leaves his mouth is, well, look at the defense. Well, this is what Aaron Rodgers has been dealing with since that long Super Bowl long ago. He's had to outscore other teams because his defense simply could not get stopped. So basically my bottom line about the Patriots is if they don't figure out this defense, I have a hard time believing that they'll make the Super Bowl this year. And so we'll see what Coach Belichick does. But this team had the best odds ever to win the Super Bowl. People were talking about them going 16-0. And this is the same defense they had last year that led the league in scoring defense. So I'm not really sure what's going on with the Patriots, why their defense it is. I understand Rob Ninkovich, he retired, but that's it. They still have everybody else. So those guys definitely need to figure it out because Carolina had a field day against them. And that perfectly segues into my next point. So is Cam elite again? I tweeted out that, remember when everybody thought Cam was elite, and I still don't think he's elite. Now, don't get me wrong. Has Superman returned? No. He played a hell of a game. He went 22 of 29, 316 yards, 3 TDs, only 1 interception, and he had a Russian TD, but let's not overreact. Cam is still tied third with 5 interceptions this season, and before this game has been relatively pedestrian. Let's see if he can continue this good play against better defenses before we jump the gun again on Cam. You know what I mean? Let's not jump the gun. Let's not, raise, he's elite. Look what he did against the Patriots. Look, as far as I'm concerned, anybody can do that against the Patriots as of right now. It's weird that the Saints weren't able to figure it out, but they're just a bad team and all. But let's not jump the gun on Cam Newton again, because let's be honest, outside of that year where he won MVP, he's been a relatively average quarterback. Granted, I understand he's been hurt and he had the shoulder surgery this offseason, but let's not jump the gun again. Let's not make that mistake. But let's move on to the guy I said should be the quarterback for the Houston Texans. Deshaun Watson solidified himself against the Titans this week. Now, I told y'all on the last show that I believe Deshaun Watson was the best QB for Houston going forward. And he definitely proved that right this past Sunday against the Titans. He went absolutely berserk. He went 24 of 34 for 283, 4 touchdowns, 1 interception, also a rushing TD. He became the third rookie QB in NFL history with 4 passing TDs and a rushing touchdown in the game. Simply put, Houston's offense seems a lot more fluid with him in the lineup, and with his ability to run, it's a dual threat. He continued to find his favorite target, DeAndre Hopkins, who caught 10 balls for 170 yards and 1 TD. It's crazy that he keeps finding DeAndre Hopkins. And at the beginning of the season, DeAndre Hopkins, his vote was for Tom Savage. He said Savage was my man. I'm sure his thoughts and all that have switched, seeing what Deshaun Watson could do once he gets integrated into that offense, once he gets a little bit more comfortable, once he's able to recognize, okay, I see what's going on defense here. I see the blitz coming. Oh, that's cover 3. Now that he's starting to recognize these things, he's starting to look a little bit better. He's having sort of like a Dak-like year, or he has a possibility of almost having the type of year Dak Prescott had last year, this year, with all those pieces around here. And I said last year, if the Texans had any sort of decent quarterback play, they would have beat the Patriots last year in the playoffs. But now, with that QB in place, the bigger question going forward is, can the Texans continue to establish this success with the rookie at the helm? It definitely reminds me of Dak Prescott last year. I'm eager to see what those guys do, how do they put it together, and how they continue to progress Deshaun Watson, because he's a winner. That's just straight up what he is. I knew he was the best option for them going in. I kind of figured they would start Tom Savage, but I didn't see him lasting more than 3 games. So big kudos to Deshaun Watson. He played a hell of a game out there. So yeah, let's move on to America's quote-unquote team, the Cowboys. Simply couldn't get it done against the Rams. They fall to 0-2 after the high-powered Rams hung 35 on them. My biggest takeaway from this game is Dallas's inability to control the clock and possession like they did last year. They're just not able to do it with this year. We all know Dallas defense was below average last year and this year, but they were able to keep those guys off the field last year by running effectively with Ezekiel Elliott. But there's been a huge drop-off in the way Ezekiel Elliott has ran from last year compared to now. Last year, Elliott averaged 5.1 yards a carry and 108 yards a game. This year, those numbers have dropped significantly to 3.6 yards a carry and only 69 per game. That offensive line, I know they had a guy retire off of it. They still have 3 of the top linemen in the league, but they're just not generating that same push. And, Zeke isn't picking up that same 5 to 6 yards a carry on first down. So now they're forcing Dak to throw the ball more. And I think people who said, look, I knew Dak was going to fly, I just kind of want to say pump the brakes. Remember, he's still in his second year. Last year, to me, was just the perfect situation. He made no mistakes. That was mistake-free football. But mistakes are going to come. No one's perfect. It happens to everybody. So let's not be so down on Dak yet. He's shown the ability to make plays. He's shown the ability to get outside the pocket and make plays. So let's just give him that time. But at the end of the day, if the Cowboys can't get that defense off the field, they're going to have a tough time keeping pace in the NFC East because the schedule only gets tougher from here. They're facing the AFC West and a first-place schedule this year. They got a game against the Packers this Sunday. Go, Pack, go. If they don't establish that run game and get that defense off the field, their secondary is going to get torn to shreds. But on the flip side of things, let's look at the Rams. Now, the Rams' high-powered offense has done it week in and week out with that aberration week 2 where they lost. But Sunday, Todd Gurley was a man among boys. He rushed for 121 yards on 23 carries. He also caught 7 receptions for 94 yards and a touchdown. Gurley and Goff have the Rams sitting atop the NFC West at 3-1. That's a great start for this young team. Coach Sean McVay is one of my early Coach of the Year candidates and has the Rams playing some really good football right now. I don't think anybody thought they were going to start out 3-1 this year, even though they had the first pick in the draft, Jared Goff and Todd Gurley. Then they made a move for Sammy Watkins, and they have a Tavon Austin. And then on the defensive side, you got an Aaron Donald of the world. That team is a really well-built team. Their offense is great. Their defensive front is crazy good. We'll see how long they can keep this up. Will teams figure them out? They're still young. So we'll see what happens that moves on. But so far, so good for the Rams. They lead that division with a 3-1 record. We'll see where they go from here. But let's segue over to the only undefeated team in the league hands down. The Kansas City Chiefs. Look, so the Chiefs stay undefeated after beating a feisty Redskins team on Monday Night Football. Actually, before I get into the Chiefs, let me just say this. The Redskins lost last night, but the Redskins have actually impressed me this year. They looked pretty good against the Chiefs. They looked good against the Raiders on Monday night or Sunday night. They look really good. I like the way Kirk Cousins moved the ball. I like the Terrell Pryor signing. A lot of people thought their offense was going to drop off, losing 2 1,000-yard receivers, but it hasn't dropped off at all. I like the way the Redskins look in the NFC East at the top. When you got the Eagles and you got the Redskins, they're looking pretty good. And then, it's always the Cowboys who can come in there. We're not even going to talk about the Giants. They're 0-4. They're out. Total disappointment. But let's get back to the Chiefs. So, look. First off, let me give it up to this man out of Toledo. Kareem Hunt is definitely the leading candidate for Rookie of the Year as of right now. He had another great game, 17 carries, 101 yards. This man, to me, is the total surprise of the year so far. Like, I had heard of Kareem Hunt, and I had seen some highlights from Toledo, but I didn't know he was this good. I didn't know he would be able to establish this success in the NFL. Shout out to the Kansas City Chiefs and Andy Reid for putting him in position to make plays. Now, moving on to Alex Smith, he was as efficient as usual. He went 27 for 37 for 293 yards and 1 touchdown. He also showed off some wheels last night, man. He ran for 56 yards and a TD, also an electrifying 32-yard scamper for a first down. Man, I was looking up at my screen. Next thing I know, Alex Smith, thinking he Michael Vick, he took off last night. I didn't know he had wheels like that, so it was good seeing he could do little things like that in game and, continue to move his team down the field and do whatever it takes. I don't know if this is the same Alex Smith we're going to get all season, but so far so good. He's one of the top quarterbacks in the league so far. Let me not forget this, man. The Chiefs also have the best tight end in the game. That's right. Best tight end, not Gronkowski, not Delaney Walker. It's Travis Kelce, man. He had 7 receptions for 111 yards and a touchdown. The dude just does it all for them. Up the middle, on the outside of the numbers, in the backfield. Travis Kelce is the best tight end in the league, bar none. I don't want to hear nothing else about it. I don't know about you guys, but to me, the Chiefs are easily the best team in the NFL right now. Hands down, they're 4-0. Great job by those guys. So today I'm going to do something a little bit different. Since this shows, I kind of did the show last minute. I wasn't able to get my guest today, which is okay. So I'm going to leave out my normal standouts and go home and drunk your players. And I got my top 10 power rankings through 4 games. We're through that first quarter of the NFL season, and I got my top 10 teams. This is just me. This is the order I think they're in. This is my top 10. And here we go. I'm going to start from number 10, actually. I'll start from number 1. Let me give you the top. So, number 1, easy. Kansas City Chiefs. Simply put, only undefeated team. Best rushing attack in the league. Alex Smith playing like it's his contract year or something. Those guys are number 1. They're undefeated. It was easy to put them in number 1. Number 2, I got the Denver Broncos. That defense is once again one of the elite, if not the best defense in the league. The Broncos have only given up 50 yards a game on the ground. And here's some of the running backs they've went against. Ezekiel Elliott, LaShawn McCoy, Marshawn Lynch, and Melvin Gordon. Now let's see if they can continue to steer this ship. They're going to need some decent play from Simeon, but as far as how this defense has played so far, they're looking great. They're looking like one of the top teams in the AFC. So number 2, I got the Denver Broncos. Moving in at number 3, I have the Atlanta Falcons. So a rare 6 turnovers for the Falcons over the last 2 games is concerning. But I feel like as good as this offense is, they will figure it out and continue to drop points on opponents. When you got Julio Jones and Sanu and Hooper and Tevin Coleman and Devontae Freeman and Matt Ryan, and then, that star center Alex Mack in the center, man, those guys are good. They hit a little rough patch over the last 2 games, but I feel like they'll figure it out. They'll keep moving. They'll keep dropping crazy points on your head top. So I got Atlanta at number 3. Coming in at number 4, another team from the NFC East, I got the Green Bay Packers. Boatload of injuries have played the Packers once again. But as usual, Aaron Rodgers continues to make plays for this team and have them at 3-1 heading into Sunday's matchup against Dallas. Looking at the Packers, left tackle out, right tackle out, top 2 running backs out. They're down to the 3rd string running back. Best run stopper out. Backup linebackers out. We're literally running safeties at linebacker. That's how much injuries we have. But these guys continue to win, continue to go out there and perform. Jordan Nelson, Aaron Rodgers. Hopefully Devontae Adams is okay. He's been performing pretty well. Randall Cobb being that threat in the middle of the field like he was once again 2 years ago. He had an off year last year. It's good to see these guys. They're still 3-1. Let's see if they can get healthy as we move on. They got a big matchup on Sunday against the Cowboys. Coming in at number 5, the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now look, I'm going to be the first to admit it. The Steelers haven't impressed me yet, especially after that thrashing they took from the Bears. But they're still 3-1. They're still atop their division. They still just got a division win against the Baltimore Ravens. So I had to put them up there. Their play might not have shown it, but they're still getting the wins. And at the end of the day, that's all that counts. So I got the Steelers at number 5. Coming in at number 6, let's move to the NFC East. I have the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, Carson Wentz has shown some nice improvement this year, and LeGarrette Blount is showing he can be an every down type back. They have given up the 2nd most points in the 4th quarter this year. If that defense can just tighten up a little bit and play like they do through the first 3 quarters, they should be poised for a good season. You know, right now, they're only about up a game right now, but to me, the Eagles as a team look better than the Cowboys right now. So they are my NFC East favorite as of right now. We'll see how that changes going forward. But at number 6, I got the Philadelphia Eagles. So number 7, I still have these guys in my top 10. New England Patriots. Now, luckily for the Patriots, they have Tom Brady. Unfortunately, they also have the league's worst defense by far. We'll see how long Brady can carry the load until the defense finds some heart. Now look, Brady's 40 years old. He shouldn't be carrying the load anymore. That defense needs to figure it out. You know what I mean? Because the AFC, you got the Kansas City Chiefs, you got the Broncos, you got teams like that their defense is set. Now, Kansas City's defense may not be elite, but it's set. They got a guy in Justin Houston who could really get after the ball. Broncos, I don't even really need to get into it. We know what their defense is about. But the Patriots have to get that defense looking at least somewhat like they did last year, or I don't see them lucking out and winning. You know, I'm not saying it's lucky that they win, but what I'm saying is eventually that defense is going to catch up to you. Eventually they're going to get in a hole where they can't get out, where Tom Brady can't pass them out of that. So I have New England at number 7 for now, but they are definitely trending down. They actually fell 4 spots in my previous ranking. So New England at number 7. Coming in at number 8, even though it pains me to do this, but a division foe of the Detroit Lions, I have them in there at number 8. Let me tell you something about the Lions. They lead the league in takeaways at 11, and Matthew Stafford continues to show why he got paid this summer. The Lions have been a pleasant little surprise. I'm definitely been looking at that team as a Green Bay fan, but they've definitely performed pretty well. Actually, they perform a lot better than I thought they would. I thought they would totally not even be in the playoff hunt, but as of right now, they're 3-1, sitting atop division, tied with the Packers. The Lions are looking really good, so I had to show them some love. So they're my number 8 team. Moving on to number 9, I got the Seattle Seahawks. They had a great showing against a bad team on Sunday. The Seahawks still have a lot to work on, but the defense is still elite with the exception of one game this season. Now, they still got offensive line issues. Russell Wilson, he had played a good game, but it was against the Colts. They still got little things in here and there they need to fix. But knowing the Seahawks, I can't count them out. Knowing that personnel on defense, I cannot count them out. They're only a game behind the Rams in that division right now. So we'll see what they do from here. But as of now, I have them number 9. And cracking my top 10 list for the first time in what seems like forever. I really thought about this. I was looking through all the teams and going through the stats. I have to give it to the division-leading Buffalo Bills. The Bills sit atop their division currently and have impressive wins over the Broncos and the Falcons, 2 playoff teams. What's even more impressive, they've only allowed 1 passing TD through 4 games, so that defense is really starting to play. It's funny, that defense is starting to step up now that Rex Ryan gone, huh? But anyways, the Bills, they're definitely sitting atop that division. They're looking good. They're leading it. Now, I'm not sure if they're going to be able to hold on to it. I don't know if the Patriots are going to, snap into it and find some defense. We'll see. But as of right now, I got to give props where props is due. I like what I see from Tyrod Taylor and LaShawn McCoy. Tyrod Taylor from VA, rep that. But anyways, I got the Bills at number 10. So those are my top 10 power rankings through 4 games. Kansas City, Denver, Atlanta, Green Bay, Steelers, Eagles, Patriots, Lions, Seahawks, and Bills. So now let's segue over to the last part of today's show, guys. Shorter show today, but still just as good. My final thoughts today will be on the NBA preseason. Now, I'm a big NBA buff. I'm watching I don't care who playing, I'm watching. So my final thoughts are here, and I have to talk the NBA preseason. Now, granted, look, it's only the preseason, so let's not overhype anything. But what I do want to mention is I like what I've seen from the Lakers. Granted, they're 0-2, they haven't won a game yet, but the philosophy has changed. The way they push the ball up the court is quick and fast, and they're always looking to capitalize off the fast break. And I got to admit, it looks good. I like Kentavious Caldwell-Pope. I like the weight that Julius Randle has lost. It looks a lot slimmer. It looks more like a small forward now. I like the way they push the ball up. I like the way Lonzo's been playing. Shot hasn't been dropping, but that's okay. It's early. We're not worried about your shot dropping. We're worried about if you can run this offense. And I like the way he looked. He tweaked his ankle yesterday, but I've heard he's good. He's fine. It's nothing to be too concerned about. But and let me not forget to say his name, Kyle Kuzma, steal of the draft. I'm calling it right now. Look, this dude does it all. He shoots from the perimeter. He shoots inside. He rebounds. He can dribble. He pushes the ball up. He shoots mid-range. I really like what I see from Kyle Kuzma. That's definitely a steal from the draft. Another note, the Timberwolves are deep. Straight up. They already have Karl Anthony Towns, Jimmy Butler, Andrew Wiggins, Jeff Teague. They look good together in the short amount of minutes that I saw them. But Shabazz Muhammad, Jamal Crawford, and Dang, they showed solid minutes off the bench, and they could be very important pieces down the road. They showed they could score. They got to the free throw line, inside, outside. I liked what I seen from Taj Gibson. I really like what I see from Minnesota early. We'll see if that transfers over to the regular season, if they can establish that success going down the road. Also, this preseason came the debut of old faces in new places. To me, Kyrie, he just did not look right in a Celtics uniform to me. But the result is still the same. Still one of our top scorers in the league, combined with Gordon Hayward now and Marcus Smart of the world. And Jason Tatum looked good, and Jaylen Brown looked better. I don't know why people are really sleep on the Celtics. I still see them getting that second seed and really challenging the Cleveland Cavaliers this year. I don't know why people don't see that, but maybe they'll learn as time goes on. But I really like what I saw from the Celtics. I do think they have a legitimate shot against beating the Cavaliers. Also, before I end, some things never change. Dwight Howard debuted with the Charlotte Hornets yesterday and played a decent game, but then reminded us of who he is and what he's about as he went to the free throw line and airballed another free throw. Come on, dog. You've been in the league for a while. This is your fourth team. You should get them free throws up, brother. Get them free throws up, man. You play for Jordan's team now. Get them free throws up. Look, man, it's been another episode of Here's the Deal. I'm back. I apologize for last week. Work got caught up. As usual, I'm looking for guests all the time. I think I got one lined up for next week. He was supposed to be on last week, but I got him lined up for next week. But please don't hesitate. Hit my inbox on Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, YouTube, whatever you got me on. If you got something to say and you think you know this sports thing, please, I would love to have you on the show. We would love to hear what you have to say. And as usual, I'm your guest, Michael D. White Jr. Y'all have a great one.
Thank you for tuning in to Here's the Deal. Tune in for next week's episode. And don't forget to add your host, Michael D. White Jr. on Facebook, Instagram, and the podcast YouTube channel, Here's the Deal. Thank you for tuning in to Here's the Deal. Tune in for next week's episode. And don't forget to add your host, Michael D. White Jr. on Facebook, Instagram, and the podcast YouTube channel, Here's the Deal. Thank you for tuning in to Here's the Deal. Tune in for next week's episode. And don't forget to add your host, Michael D. White Jr. on Facebook, Instagram, and the